Five, four, three, two, one. John Miglosh for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Okay, big day today. I don't have much to say, so we'll dip into the news. Over here, switch sides. This I thought was interesting. The Department of Housing and Urban Development sued Facebook for housing discrimination, arguing that allowing advertisers to target demographics based on race, religion, and national origin violates the Fair Housing Act. Now, what's interesting to me about that is that the long form census, which is kind of the basis for knowing anything about you based on where you live, everybody thinks that we actually know things about you. No, mostly what we know is you live in a zip code or you live in a census block group. And the census by law is defined to be big enough so that we can't know the actual, this was the South put this in, we can't know the actual income of the plantation owner. It can't be less, it can't be just one plantation, even though it could have a significant population, because you could null out the slave population, which I believe were only counted like 5/8 or something. But you could nix them out because they don't have income, and you could figure out what the plantation owner made. So the South said, no, you have to have more than a couple of households in the census group. And so that's how it's actually defined. And to this day, it's pretty interesting. Anyway, but in general, the houses look alike, so you draw a box around them. And then there's the long form census, and the long form census asks you your race, which I've been tempted to say other. I put white because I have a white beard. But you could be black with a white beard. And then what? Anyway, so we have percentages of other. We have percentages of solar heat. We have percentages of outdoor toilets. It's all in the census data, which I actually go through once every 10 years and make new variables by hand. Okay? And one of the census, there's black population. There's percent, and then you can figure out the percentage of black population of black households per households. So you can figure out the percent black, the percent white, the percent Native American, the percent Hispanic, Asian, or other. So they kind of give us this ammunition, and then they say, according to the Fair Housing Act, you can't use it. I have to admit, sometimes it does creep into the models, although it's not the best. Like other is actually one of the best ones because that's a huge urban indicator. Because if you're not white, black, Native American, Hispanic, or Asian, it's like there aren't that many left. I wouldn't think so. Aboriginal? Don't know. But anyway, Ben Carson said using a computer to limit a person's housing choices can be just as discriminatory as slamming a door in someone's face. So if I use the percentage of black, which is just a thing, it's only discriminatory if I don't show them the ad. What if they haven't bought in 8 years? What if I'm mailing them for 6 years or something, and I find out that the percent black is an indicator that they're not that likely to buy again, and I don't mail them? Is that discriminatory? I have a hard time thinking it's discriminatory if I've been mailing them like the Dickens. I don't use it on the on the people we've mailed for the last 6 years. It's just a question. I welcome your comments. I'm not sure of the answer. But Ben Carson says Facebook's system is so targeted that it often illegally focuses on one demographic group, even when the advertisers don't ask for such a narrow targeting. You know why that is? It's because artificial intelligence looks for correlations and doesn't care why. And that's why we get spurious correlations. And that's why we get this kind of stuff. And if you use a neural net, then you're safe because you don't know why it's doing it, which is probably Facebook's argument. Facebook's argument is it's machine learning. We don't do it, the machine doesn't care about race. It just happens to be the case that maybe blacks aren't interested in the product. I don't know. I see a lot of ads with blacks, and I'm not black, but I might still be interested. It's like either race is something or it isn't. I don't have the answers, but HUD said it's going to use all its resources to protect Americans from this dirty book. And on that note, Russia is putting up its own internet. Now, all it's really doing, I think, is blocking everyone else's internet out. If you live in Russia, it's blocking everybody else, which isn't that hard. When you check into a hotel, you don't, your computer will say you're connected up. You hit Hilton Guest or whatever you do, put in your room number and stuff. But before you do that, you're connected to their router. What you're not connected to is the little dictionary that looks up the addresses. Because, see, CNN has an address. It's like 198.27.645.10 or something like that. That's the internet address. But the internet didn't want you to have to remember all of those little numbers. So it said, let's give people names, and then we'll take that number and we'll associate it with a name. That's called the Domain Name Server Table, I think. DNS. Domain Name Server. So they give them names. They let you get names. So you can have Cabela's.com or you can have Migmar.com or WDMA.org. But it's all numbers. So with all those numbers, when you check into the hotel and you get on the internet, it can see certain things, but it's not going to see the rest of it. It doesn't have the DNS loaded. It doesn't give you access to that. That's how they control it. Okay. Theoretically, if you had your own DNS riding along with you, you could get into all that stuff. Which I've often wondered why I don't, and why that isn't a thing. But anyway, so Russia's going to turn off the rest of the world, and unless somebody complains about it, it seems like a perfectly practical solution if you don't want the rest of the world to talk to your people. And, going forward, the Wild West of the internet, free and everybody accessing everything, is probably over. We probably don't know how over it is. I showed you a video a week ago where I couldn't get at the EU on YouTube. Most of the EU videos were blocked. I haven't confirmed that happened again. I haven't noticed it again, but I haven't gone looking for it either. Okay, so Russia is pursuing sovereign internet to eliminate reliance on global companies. Incidentally, if you keep Russian data on Russians, then you are required to keep it in Russia. Which, again, kind of makes sense to me. Russia can do what it wants. On another regulatory note, the Federal Trade Commission announced settlements with 4 entities that have been responsible for billions of illegal robocalls. Why are we having settlements? I think they should be put in a cell with cell phones. Is that where cell phones got invented? Put them in a cell with cell phones and have that phone ring over and over and over and over, and try to sell them some extended warranty for their car that is so far out of warranty it's a joke. Or try to sell them what else? Or tell them the IRS is after them. Or best yet, just hang up on them when they answer. Mercy. So anyway, one of the incentives for engaging in illegal robocalling are so strong. Once you shut down one operation, others pop up in their place. It's like a black market. When you regulate an economy, you always get a black market. Okay, so, but you'd think that your phone provider could have a pretty fast idea after they made 20 calls. After 20 calls went through to 20 calls went through to Republic Wireless, to me, through the Sprint network, I think. And no one said a word, just hung up. Originating from the same place, although I think they change it every time, best they can. But, there's got to be a way to track that number. I've seen it on TV. Keep them on the line and we can track where they are. So once you track where they are, you'd think you could pretty fast, all you have to do is watch for calls where someone answers and hangs up. Answers, hangs up from the same inbound. They're coming from the same place, and whoever answers hangs up. Seems pretty simple. Okay, enough on the regulatory. Oh, this is funny. So the John Oliver pledged to hound the FTC with robocalls of his own design until they have addressed the problem. I thought that was pretty sensible. Someone else proposed a penny tax for sanity. One of the problems is with no cost, there's no care. We don't care. People think junk mail self-regulates. Why? Because one of these mailers costs you 50 cents. Okay? This is a mail from PayPal with a card in it, a PayPal credit card offer. Okay? PayPal mails me, even though they have my email. They mail. I got lots of them. I save them over here. So because it costs them 50 cents, they self-regulate. Makes sense. I think a tax makes too much sense. This guy says I'd personally prefer to take dozens of robocalls daily. No, I don't prefer it because I run to the phone and no one's there and they hung up. Or it's anyway. Like and share. Have a great day. I'm John Miglosh. You wouldn't have heard it anywhere but here.